He probably just did that to make me feel good. All right. So if this top one is a multiplication problem and we solve it by division, then if this bottom one is a multiplication problem, 3/5 times x, then we also solve it by division. So, but this time I'm multiplying by a fraction, which means all I need to do is divide by a fraction. So I'm going to divide by 3/5 on the left, and I'm going to divide by 3/5 on the right. You can use the division symbol, or you can still do the fraction bar. It looks a little confusing because then you have this fraction over a fraction thing, okay? But either way, it means the same thing, right? Okay, so now in the textbook, if you read through the examples or watched the little video tutor in the textbook, they teach you to solve using something you call a multiplicative inverse, which is useful to know if you're doing it by hand. But since we're doing it in the calculator, there's really no advantage to doing it that way. So the easiest way for you all to do this, since you had a calculator, is simply to do 7/8 in your calculator divided by 3/5. And then, let's see if I do that. 7/8 divided by 3/5. It will give me 1 and 11/24. So, now the same thing's true. Now, some of the same people that I saw doing the multiplicative inverse were doing multiplicative inverses regardless of whether it was a multiplication problem or a subtraction problem or addition problem. Okay, solving equations is just like solving with fractions, is just like solving equations without. If you have y plus 7/12 equals 3 1/5, you are not going to multiply by 12/7 to solve it. What are you going to do?
Subtract.
Subtract what?
7/12.
7/12, because that's what that's the multiplicative inverse. And the only reason to do that is if you're not using a calculator. This is an addition problem, so to solve I subtract, and I need to subtract the exact same thing that I
don't get how to do it on a calculator.
Alright. So if I have this 3 1/5 minus 7/12 gives me 2 27/60. Oh, excuse me, 2 37/60. Alright, so those are some examples of solving equations. It doesn't matter what operation it is, you always do the opposite operation, same number. It doesn't matter whether it's a fraction number, a decimal number, a negative number, okay? If you're solving an equation, you do the opposite operation, the same number, okay? Now, alright, so what kind of problem is this? It's one step, but specifically what operation's going on? Subtraction, which means to solve. Right, I'm going to add. Always the same number. Don't flip it or anything crazy like that. If I subtracted 3/8, then I need to add 3/8. And on the other side, I also add 3/8. On the left-hand side, they cancel, leaving me with h. And on the right-hand side, I have a negative 11/24 plus 3/8. And at this point, if you're using your calculator, guys, now, is it good that you know that you need a common denominator to add them by hand? Yeah, it is good. But if you have a test where you're allowed to use a calculator, is it a good use of your time? Is it a good use of your time to find a common denominator in order to add to the calculator? No, calculator doesn't need the common denominator. It does all that for you. So all you have to do is type in negative 11/24. So you'll do negative 11 over 24. Some of you have to hit 11/24 and then hit the negative button to turn it negative. Some of you can hit the negative button and then 11/24. It just depends on your calculator. And then plus 3/8. And then just like that, like magic, we get -1/12 as our answer. So, yep, calculators are smart like that.
I know what pi is.
All right.
3.1415926. Don't you need that?
All right.
It's 3.14.
Okay, so for
Yeah.
all right, let's. I have a problem like 7/8 plus
It's not writing.
2. It'll catch up in a second. 2/5 times 1 1/4 minus 3 2/3 squared.
Whoa, that's big.
Now, let's say I need to put this in a calculator. Now, I want you guys to follow along in your own calculator to make sure you're getting the same answer as me. What would be the first thing that I would need to do for this problem? Cameron?
1 and 1/4.
Whoa. I said Cameron. If your name is not Cameron, then I did not call on you. All right. Go ahead, Cameron. What do you do? Okay.
Did I use the parentheses on here?
I want you, for order of operations, to show your steps one at a time because I need to see your work. So let's look at this. Now, it is a good idea, though, to practice putting it in your calculator with the parentheses. I mean, you can literally type your fraction button. You can do 7 and then your little fraction button over 8 plus 2, then your little fraction button over 5. Then you can hit the open parentheses. You can do 1, the little fraction or mixed number button over then 1, then 4, and then minus, and then your little mixed number button, hit it again, and then close your parentheses, and then do your to the second power, and it should give you the same answer as if you do it one step at a time. Okay?
A parentheses next to
Second power is right.
Number sitting next to parentheses means you're multiplying by what's in parentheses. Now, order of operation wise, what we're doing in here is going to be, what goes first? What goes first?
1/4, 1 and
Right. 1 1/4 minus 3 2/3. So, where's my calculator? There it is. So I'm going to do 1 and 1/4. There's either an x to the second power button, and if you just mash that, that'll put it to the second power. Or if you need it to something other than the second power, there's an x to the y button, and then you can mash that, and then you get to choose what exponent you're using, like to the third or to the fifth or seventh or whatever. So 1 1/4 minus 3
I got
2
25,
We have the same
17 over
thirds.
18.
Is this right?
Is that right?
That looks right. All right. So what did y'all get when you put that in?
25.
I got
over 17.
I got 3.
Whoa.
19
Just
over 90.
when you did 1 1/4 minus 3 2/3.
Oh, I did the whole problem. I
got Okay.
289. Wait, I have a negative.
I want to do it one at a time. That way I make sure I know if y'all are getting them right. So just do 1 1/4 minus 3 2/3. Just do that right now, and then let's see what you get and make sure it matches up. Kim?
How do you change? Like when I divide with big numbers, it puts a fraction, but I don't want.
Okay, you want it to be a mixed number instead of improper fraction. Okay, there is.
Are you looking for the mode?
I got negative
No, I was looking for
Negative 2 5 12 over
1 and 1/4. I got negative 2 and 5.
this right here. See above, not the SD, but above it, and it's a second function. So you hit shift and see how it's like a mixed number, A, B over C, and it goes to D over C. So that changes between an improper fraction and a mixed number.
So when do I press it?
Like after you get your answer, hit shift and hit that, and it'll automatically change it for you.
Thank you.
Alright, so what do y'all get for this one?
-2 and 5 over 12.
Okay, good. Ooh, hang on. Hang on. I somehow changed my mode. What did I do? I don't want it in decimal mode. Alright, so you say you got -2 and 5/12.
I did not get that. I need help. I got that. I got help. You do 1 1/4 minus 3 and 1. I do not understand calculators. I got 12, 736. What?
Oh, you already squared it. We're not squaring it yet. We're doing what's inside parentheses first. And if you were doing the squaring, you would need to put parentheses around this, because if you do put the squared there, it's going to square just that before it subtracts.
That's fine.
So if you hit that now you'll get -2. Alright. Okay. Did everybody get -2 and 5/12 now? Okay, so the next step is to do what? Next thing we need to do is the exponent. Now look, guys, here's another good thing to know about your calculator. If you don't type anything else in, like you just got this answer and it's still on your screen, and you just hit x to the second power, it will say answer to the second power. It'll take your last answer and use that as whatever input. So like if I wanted to add something to 2 and 5/12, I would just put plus and it would automatically say answer plus. Okay, so if you don't type anything else in, then you don't have to retype -2 and 5/12. So I'm just going to hit x to the second power and see mine says answer to the second power.
I got Nick with a 2.
If I do that,
Mine doesn't do that.
let's see what yours says.
Mine doesn't either. Mine actually does something more. Mine says I'm going to change it to 7 page. 7 page.
Oh, you know what?
You want to back on about Sam was here. I'm nice. You can see me. Oh, you are Alex. Hey, look. Alex is. Yeah, mine doesn't do that. Yeah.
So Darren, I'll say.
So, who do you want now?
Darren, I'll say.
Okay. Why did you love Pokemon?
That's what he said. He says he don't get
You have the store button, so you can store things in your memory.
So I beat up stuff.
Alright, we'll just type in -2 and 5/12.
That's what I would do, is I would do this, and it would say -2 5/12.
Hey,
I would do 1.
Did you get the same thing? I don't think I got
And then you want to square it. Okay, so you just need to switch yours just hit the second button.
So you, does it really matter?
If you're second that, it's just putting it in decimal. If the second button is SD, that says switch to that.
Does it really matter?
That's a data like police.
I would leave it in fraction mode since you're doing your answers are fraction. You want it in fraction mode. Alright. Okay, once we do this, the second power, you should get 5 and 121 over 144. So we have 7/8 plus 2/5 times 5 and 121 over 144. Then I can multiply that. Now again, if you have the ability like mine, I'm just going to hit times and it'll automatically take this last answer. If you don't have that option, then you'll just have to type it in again. But since mine has the answer option, I'll just do that. Just hit times and it'll answer times. And then I'll put 2/5 in. And I get now I'm running out of room on my page. So I get 7/8 plus, and this came out to be 2 and 121 over 160. Everyone get that?
Wait.
I just multiplied 2/5 times this.
Okay.
And then the last thing we do is add 7/8 to that.
Can you read it?
And then my final answer, and I'm just going to write it off to the side here, is 3 and 19/90. Now, if you can also put this all in your calculator at once. But the thing that I don't like about putting it all in there at once is there's a greater chance of you mistyping one number or putting something in wrong and getting the answer all wrong. So it's better usually to do it a little bit at a time. But if you wanted to check your answer real quick and make sure that you get the same thing, you can put the entire thing in your calculator. You would just put the fraction 7/8 plus the fraction 2/5, open a parentheses, do 1 and 1/4 minus 3 and 2/3, close the parentheses, put the second power, hit enter, make sure that it's in mixed number form, and you should still get 3 and 19.
It's not in mixed number form. It says
Mine didn't get
289.90.
Well, then change it to mixed number form.
How?
You push.
So what's your doing something? No, you showed me how to.
He came over my house yesterday. He came over my house yesterday, and after we went to H House, I paid for his ticket, and I paid his
You don't have to do
The only reason I brought it up.
Morgan, Mr. Mark said that we were.
I'm wearing luggage. I'm wearing yoga pants. Well, as long as you have to cover it, it's fine. But I might do that. I'm wearing one shirt.
I'll find two.
Yeah. I'm gonna wear my blue.
I'll find two really good. I think like two pieces. This young too big. Too big.
I seen Taylor and Tyler. Tyler had Taylor. Yeah,
Hey, bro, what you gonna do?
they fight back. Tyler said, I'm going to get the knife. Taylor said, well, you better not. And Tyler was going to stand with the knife. Taylor got his legs.
Can I pass out the practice test?
You smile a lot.
Alright. Yeah. This is just a decimal. See how that is.
Tell me, pick Tyler up.
Let me put on some headphones.
And then, one time, tell me, football at Tyler there. It's hard, it's good.
Me and my sister started.
He's a good younger
They're really racist. This is he's acting
Alright.
serious. He'll hit me in my head.
Okay, guys, listen. Hunter Grace is passing out your practice test. Now, listen, guys. Test is Friday. Now, technically you have tonight and tomorrow night to get the practice test done. So make sure you get it completed, guys. It is a correctness grade. Use your calculators. And then we'll have the test on Friday.